One of the most disturbing parts about this situation in Kashmir is the use of pellet guns against the Kashmiri people by the Indian Army. Now, they're saying that they're using these pellets against the protesters and that it's non lethal. Don't worry about it. However, that's not the case. Since July, 10 people have died from pellet guns, and over 780 people have been injured, either with damage to one eye or both eyes, often case resulting in blindness. Blindness, right? So, if you consider also a lot of the patients who are coming into the hospitals and being treated are between 12 and 15 years old. So, I want you to imagine for a second, imagine a 12-year-old you know. Maybe it's your child, maybe it's your niece or nephew, maybe it's a child of a friend. Now imagine seeing that child with a face riddled with pellet bullets. Imagine the sounds that child would make as you took them to the hospital. Imagine what it would feel like to speak with the doctor and hear that this child will now be blind for the rest of their lives. But don't worry, it's non lethal. Imagine the psychological impact on these people of having children, young people, maybe even the sole breadwinner of the family who's now blind and completely dependent on others for their survival. Recently a 12-year-old boy died. His name is Junaid. Sorry if I'm not saying that correctly, but eyewitnesses say that he was standing at his doorway of his home looking out to see the clashes going on in the street, and he was shot and killed. A 12-year-old boy. Or think of Insha Malik, a 14-year-old girl who was also just looking out of her home and she was shot in the face. Or there's Shalik Sheikh, a 30-year-old woman. That's how old I am. A 30-year-old woman heard the trouble going on in the streets and went to look for her 5-year-old son. She was shot in the face, in the neck, in the chest, and now she's blind for the rest of her life. Her son survived. And and yet his mother is blind. Now he has a blind mother. How can she support him? Here's why this is just so traumatizing. Hurting the Kashmiri people is not going to resolve